Dr. Sangay Adusumili is a surgeon and co-founder of Global Medical Foundation Australia. He spent 2 weeks working to save lives at Gaza's Al-Aqsa hospital and joins me now from Sydney, Australia. And thanks for doing so, Doctor. You know, I saw an interview you did with ABC Australia, and you said that before you went, you thought it would be difficult, but you'd be okay afterwards. What was the reality? Were you?
Thank you for having me, Michael. Yeah, it's taken a lot out of me after I've come back. I didn't expect to see the horrific stories and injuries that I encountered whilst I was in Gaza. After I've come back, I've unfortunately had quite vivid dreams of bomb blasts and blood and children being injured, which have slowly improved over time. But unfortunately, I still have an immense feeling of guilt that I'm still not there helping those people who are suffering.
Yeah, that's a common feeling for people who do what you do. You've spoken of operating on patients dying in pain, agony, because there was no appropriate anaesthesia. And these were not minor surgeries, were they? They were major surgeries.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, I was dealing with a lot of trauma patients. So these trauma patients would come in with shrapnel injuries penetrating their chest or their abdomen, or bomb blasts which have essentially dismembered a patient, and they'd come in with a limb missing. So my role was to stabilize patients by either opening their chest, performing essentially what we'll call open heart surgery or surgery on their lungs. I would also have to open their abdomen, control any sepsis and any bleeding, pack things away, and unfortunately afterwards many of these patients were on simple Panadol or paracetamol for pain relief because of the lack of supply that was there.
Agonising, just horrible. As a medical professional, what's it like to have seen what you saw and deal with what you just talked about, and know that in terms of resources, facilities, things like anaesthesia, that it didn't have to be like that, that those resources are actively being prevented in many cases from getting in and horribly wounded people from getting out? What's that like as a doctor?
It's incredibly frustrating. So when you see a young child, and I was operating on countless kids, when you see them suffering and you know that a matter of kilometres away is the pain relief that they need to be comfortable, it's infuriating. It really is frustrating. When we went into Gaza, we passed countless trucks. We counted almost somewhere around 600 to 700 trucks that were sitting there idly, filled with medications, filled with humanitarian supplies, including food. And all of this could be used to ease the suffering of people of the innocent civilians who are essentially being massacred there. And especially when you see a young child who is going through so much pain from the surgery, from the surgery that's tried to save them, from the trauma, from the war itself, it's really frustrating. And I can tell you I've been brought to tears multiple times.